Welcome back to It's Now Again, the podcast where we explore mindfulness from a secular evidence-based perspective. I am your host, Jeremy West, and today we're tackling a topic that I'm sure you'll relate to, automaticity. Automaticity and reactivity, and how we can break free from those automatic patterns that keep us stuck. You know, we've all been there, feeling like we're just going through the motions, we're living on autopilot. Whether it's in our routines or our relationships or the way we respond to challenges, it's easy to fall into those well-worn grooves of habit. Here's the thing. While those automatic patterns might feel comfortable or familiar, they also keep us from living fully in the present, making choices that truly serve us. So what exactly is automaticity? Well, let's break it down. Automaticity is when our brains take the reins and they start running the show without our conscious involvement. It's like when you're driving a familiar route and suddenly you realize you've reached your destination without really remembering the drive. Your brain has essentially said, don't worry, I got this, and has taken over. Now, automaticity isn't all bad. In fact, it's incredibly useful in a lot of ways. Imagine if you had to consciously think about every little thing you do, like tying your shoes, brushing your teeth, or driving. What if you had to consciously think about breathing or beating your heart? You'd be exhausted by breakfast. Automaticity allows us to save mental energy for more complex or novel tasks by automating the routine ones. But here's where it gets tricky. While our brains are pretty great at forming these automatic patterns, they're not always discerning about which habits or reactions are actually helpful. That's how we end up with those knee-jerk reactions that seem to happen before we even realize it, like snapping at someone when we're stressed or getting caught in a loop of negative thoughts. And that brings us to reactivity. Reactivity is when we respond to a situation on autopilot without really thinking it through. It's like that split-second surge of frustration when someone cuts you off in traffic, or that feeling of defensiveness when someone criticizes your work. These reactions are so quick, we often don't even notice them happening until we're already in the thick of it. Here's a personal example. I used to have a habit of getting really frustrated when I was late for something. Like, why is this traffic out to ruin my life? Kind of frustrated. But when I started practicing mindfulness, I realized that this reaction was just an automatic pattern. It wasn't helping me to get to my destination any faster, and it certainly wasn't making me feel any better. In fact, it was just adding to my stress. That's the thing about these automatic reactions. They can end up controlling us instead of the other way around. We react without thinking, and often in ways that don't serve us or don't align with our values. So how do we break free from these automatic patterns? That's where mindfulness comes in. Because mindfulness is all about bringing our attention to the present moment with full awareness and without judgment. It's about noticing when we're on autopilot and choosing to step out of that cycle. One of the most powerful tools in mindfulness is what I like to call mindful attention. This is the practice of pausing, noticing what's happening right now, and making a conscious choice about how to respond instead of just reacting automatically. Let's get real for a second. Imagine you're in a conversation and someone makes a snide remark. Your automatic reaction might be to feel hurt or to snap back with something equally snide. But if you bring mindful attention to the situation, you can pause and notice what's really going on. You might realize that you're feeling hurt, that there's tension in your chest, and that your first impulse is to react defensively. But with that awareness, you now have a choice. You can choose to stay calm, respond with kindness, or simply not react at all. And this, my friends, is where the magic happens. By bringing mindful attention to our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, we start to break the cycle of automaticity. We see the situation more clearly, understand our own reactions better, and make conscious choices that align with who we want to be. Another big part of breaking free from automatic patterns is recognizing the stories our minds create. Our brains are basically storytelling machines. They're constantly spinning narratives about what's happening around us. And these stories are often based on past experiences, fears, and assumptions. For example, let's say you text someone and they don't reply right away. Your brain might start telling you a story about how they're upset with you or how they're ignoring you on purpose. But in reality, they might just be busy or forgot to reply. Mindfulness helps us to recognize these stories as just that, stories. They're not necessarily true, and we don't have to let them dictate how we feel or behave. So, what can we do about it? How do we cultivate mindful attention in our daily lives? Let's start with one of my favorite practices, mindful breathing. This is something you can do anytime, anywhere. When you notice that you're feeling stressed, anxious, or caught up in a negative thought loop, take a few moments to focus on your breath. Feel the air entering and leaving your body. This simple act of bringing your attention to your breath can help you to anchor yourself in the present moment and step out of the automaticity. Another practice that can be incredibly helpful is mindful observation of your thoughts. Throughout the day, check in with yourself and notice what's going on in that busy brain of yours. Are there any recurring patterns? Are you getting caught up in stories or assumptions that may not be true? By simply observing your thoughts without judgment, you can start to see the automatic patterns that shape your experience. And then there's mindful movement. This can be as simple as taking a walk and really paying attention to the sensations in your body as you move. Notice the feeling of your feet on the ground, the rhythm of your breath, the way your muscles engage with each step. This type of mindful movement can help you connect with your body and bring your attention again back to the present moment. It's now again. Here's what I want you to take away from this episode. You have the power to break free from automatic patterns. It starts with awareness, with noticing when you're on autopilot and bringing mindful attention to the present moment. Over time, these practices can help you live with more intention, respond to challenges with greater clarity, and make choices that truly serve you. If you're looking for more support on your mindfulness journey, or if you're interested in mindfulness coaching, you can visit me at jeremywest.net. I am here to help you every step of the way. Thank you for joining me today on It's Now Again. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, share it with others who might benefit, and leave a review. And remember, the present moment is always here, waiting for you to return to it. Until next time, I'm Jeremy West, reminding you to pause, notice, and choose. Because it's now again.